Nine Parchments attempts to put its own spin on the dungeon-crawling twin-stick genre. The gameplay is similar to a twin-stick shooter with many magical powers within your arsenal. You have access to magical beams, elemental shotgun-like blasts, grenades, and elemental-infused shards. The enemies come in different forms of elements too. Essentially, you can't use the same element weapon on an enemy of the same element type. So fire weapons don't work on fire-based enemies. Other elemental magics will hurt the monster, but ice-based magics will do more damage, and the system sort of works like this. On top of this, your magical attacks can hurt yourself or your allies if they're within the firing zone. Healing magics work the same way, in which you cast a healing spell, and if the enemy gets within that radius, the enemy will be healed as well. This results in the combat creating this satisfying dance of figuring out which magics to use on your enemies and then to ensure that those spells do not hurt yourself or you heal them. This can take a bit to learn, since in most games your spells and weapons won't actually hurt you. So here you're going to need to take that time and kind of get used to how that all works. This results in the gameplay loop being satisfying but provides a light learning curve to the whole game. The combat arenas can be very intense. The game contains some cool boss fights, with the first one being fairly traditional and the second one using these mirrors. So you don't know where the enemies are going to pop out of. I thought that was particularly really fun and kind of cool that they added that kind of variety in the boss fight. As you progress throughout the levels, you'll gain experience points that you can then use to then get additional skills throughout a skill tree, and then along with the experience points, you'll also be earning new wands and wizard hats as you venture throughout the game. On the story side of things, I do think it's pretty cool that the magic is presented as this deadly force that is then channeled by the wizards within the game. The story itself isn't the most memorable, but there are some witty lines that are said, along with a Morgan Freeman caliber narrator that will chime in from time to time. The gameplay is fun, but the audio and visual presentation really elevates this game. The soundtrack does a fantastic job of invoking that feeling of high fantasy and adventure. I would play a level and really enjoy the track that was going on in the background, and then I would go to another level and I would find a new favorite, and that would continue throughout my whole experience with the game. The visuals really sell the fantasy environment with lots of vibrant colors. The game is simply beautiful to look at and listen to. The game does have a good gameplay loop that can be played with friends, and the presentation is very high, but the game can get rather repetitive after a few hours of play. I probably got about 7 hours of fun entertainment before I found the game to be hard to continue, as there wasn't really a story to push me forward while I was playing, along with there not being many unlockables to really get. I do think that the game would have benefited from having more different types of loot to earn as you're playing. Overall, the game is worth playing, especially for the soundtrack. You will probably get some good hours of entertainment out of this game, and I would highly recommend playing it in co-op. especially before the tedium kicks in. Even with the issues, I would suggest playing this game in co-op, and especially just for the soundtrack. There are some good hours of entertainment here, and it's probably best to get this game on a sale. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please check out some of my other ones. If you'd like to help support the channel, please check out my Patreon links at the end of this video and in the description below. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time.